Hey, welcome to video number 174 of Walker This Way with Hazel Walker, the queen of all things
BNI and networking.
I am Mark Simmons. I'm not going to do too much because I got a little halo effect around me, which makes sense, but my halo actually chokes me in reality. Let's be real about this.
It's a choke collar.
It is. So, and that's for another video. Hazel.
Yeah.
So I talked to a past member the other day, and this past member of BNI was not a new member for all that long. And here's what they said to me. You know, I went through the interview and I really liked the chapter. And then when I got into the chapter, all of a sudden they came at me and said, now I've got to do these one-to-ones and I've got to show up every week and I've got to bring visitors. And I'm like, why didn't you know that before? Well, nobody told me. It was just all about how great the people were and the chapter was, and I'm going to make so much money. And it's like, I got caught up in it. And I'm like, I don't have that kind of time to do all those things they wanted me to do. Oh man, that's kind of sad when you think about, we talk a lot about it, the meetings for the visitors, it's about the visitor experience, right? But there's also this member experience and the new member experience. And the key thing here, expectations and setting expectations beforehand.
Yeah, that is it's a way to prevent problems. So here's what happens. A visitor comes in and they're right. They hear about how much money they're going to make and the referrals, and they see the excitement in the chapter and they get caught up in that. And they put an application in. The membership committee then, and the members get all caught up on, oh, we're going to get a new member and we got an application and let's get them interviewed. And it comes from a place of fear. Because what happens is the membership committee should be giving them, in fact, we created an expectation letter, right? Yeah. For every new member, so new members would know. They get afraid to tell the applicant all of that stuff because now they're afraid once the applicant sees it, they will choose not to join. When the reality is, it is better for them to choose not to join up front than it is to feel like they've been tricked or duped or not told everything, you know, and now they've got to meet all of these requirements that they're not capable of meeting. Right. And so now we have an unhappy person versus someone who left happy, because it's okay if people leave BNI, but we want them to leave happy if they leave. We don't want them to leave and feel like they were tricked. And that's what happens. And it's really, really important in the whole world of accountability and people being held accountable, which, you know, that's one of our core values. You cannot hold me accountable to the things you never told me.
Right.
And that's what's happening is you've got new members who are now being held accountable to do things that they didn't agree to. And you didn't tell them. So what do you expect? Membership committees, the first part of the interview should be, let us go through our expectations and see if they match what you do and if it's a good fit for you. That's an honest conversation, right? It is dishonest to hide that and then try to hold them accountable to it later.
Yeah. And so it's mindset too. There are some chapters that do sit in the scarcity place. And I hear a lot of times, even when during the agenda, the Secretary of Treasury won't announce how much money it costs for membership and application fee. Oh, it's too salesy. Man, I want to know what I'm getting into ahead of time.
Exactly. There's an accountability piece I trained called SIMPLE, S-I-M-P-L-E. And the first letter is S, set expectations. Right. And we can talk about what each one of those letters mean in upcoming videos. But the first one is set expectations, because a person will let you do anything you want to do to them and for them if you've told them in advance. It's the same thing, Mark, as when a chapter does a visitor day. What is one of the complaints we hear after the visitor day?
Nobody joined. Nobody put in an application.
It was too salesy. It was too salesy. It was too salesy. You were too salesy. And you scared our visitors off. We didn't get any applications. Reality is when we do a good job with the sales, we get applications, right?
Right.
But it's the same mindset. It's like, if I tell the chapter ahead of time when I'm coming in to do their visitor day, if I say to the visitors, I'm going to do a presentation today and tell you a little bit about BNI. The chapter is going to be running through their agenda. And at the very end of this, we're going to go into breakout rooms. I'm going to tell you how you can submit an application and lock out your competition and become an active member of this particular chapter. Is everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
Now they're expecting it at the very end and they'll let you do it.
Right.
They don't disappear and the members don't get upset. Set the expectation at the beginning and people will let you hold them accountable.
Right. And on that expectation letter are all the pieces of this is what it costs to join. This is what our the chapter dues or the meeting dues are going to be. This is the power of one. This is the expectation on you. This is
the education.
Right? There's the other side of that where people do sign on the dotted line and they're like, what do you mean you're holding me accountable to that expectation? Well, we do that too on the other side, but at least it's set for us. It's a lot like if you get a job, you get a new job somewhere. If you and they lay out the rules of the job. And then once you get in, there's like, oh, here's the other 10 things we want you to do that we didn't tell you about. So you can't make an informed decision.
Right. I have no way to give informed consent because you never, ever told me everything that was going to be involved. And I know we had a member recently quit after like 2 weeks because she was shocked at the amount of things that they expected her to do and she couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And that wasn't good for us.
And I would like to just quickly address the too salesy thing, because this came up in a meeting that I did 2 weeks ago for a chapter. Look around you, BNI members, where you are. What do you think you're doing? You are selling. That's what we're doing. You are selling your business, your product, your service. This is what we do. We're selling
gotta close the
opportunity.
deal.
We're selling. This is what we do. It is not too salesy. It's not too salesy.
They forget that BNI is actually part of the sales process. We're the prospecting part. But just because you have a prospect, I give you a referral. If you can't sell, you're not going to eat. Yeah. And if we don't tell people how they can get involved.
We're not the timeshare business. Timeshare business, if you ever sat through one, it is really hard to get the final number of what it costs to be on the timeshare until you've been through like 10, 15 people. We let you know right up front. Here's what it is. Here's the expectation.
Here's the application. Here's the three-step process.
Yeah. It's like the Simon Sinek thing on the why. You know, when you start with the why, and then it's like, here it is. Here's what you're going to get out of it. Want it? Want to be part?
Right.
Right.
And here's and once you apply, we'll go over the expectations with you.
Right.
And that's where the chapters drop the ball because it is, in both cases, it's fear. It's fear of loss if you're too salesy. And it's because they're uncomfortable with sales. People sell the way they buy. They're uncomfortable. And then also on the accountability part, we're afraid they're going to say, no, I can't do it. And now they're not going to go through the application process. So both of them are based in fear. Right. And it's really important that we teach our membership committees. That's only fair. It's only fair. You can't hold me accountable to what you never told me I had to do.
Yeah. So big takeaway, if you haven't figured it out yet, to our amazing viewers, is set the expectation. Be really clear on what it is ahead of time so that the person you're talking to, that visitor, can make an informed decision to buy or not to buy.
Right. I set expectations for my children.
Yes, you do. That you absolutely do.
Right? So I can hold them accountable later, right? So just get in the habit. I'm sure people have that habit somewhere.
Sure.
They just got to put it now in practice with their BNI applicants.
Yeah. Set expectation. It's going to be okay. You'll be fine. The visitor will be fine.
And you'll get better long-term members.
Absolutely. And it'll help you in your business too, just so you know. All right, Hazel Walker, till next time.
See you then.
Bye.